Hare Krishna. Govinda. We're going to try to put this higher. Anyway, it's on my table for now. We're just going to leave it like this, I guess. Well, let me see. I have a plan. Hold on. Don't leave. Let's see. We're going to move me around a little bit. And we're going to bring me up. Well, I don't know if this is going to work that well, but... no, it didn't work. Hold on. Okay, it's not working so well. I don't think it's going to work, but we'll try. Yeah, that's working. We're here. Krishna woke me up just in time. I was thinking today we should speak about Radharani. So, hold on a second. Actually, I have to set up something. Okay, so I thought, no talk about love of Krishna could be complete without talking about Radharani. What do you think? Does that sound good? So, I'm going to speak a little quietly because it's 3:15 in the morning and I'm near a room, or actually near two rooms where devotees are resting. And yesterday I was outside one room, so he asked me to move, but by moving it put me near another room. So, I hope you can hear me. Let me, let's see if I can go into chat. Okay. So, we are in chat, and I don't know if all of you are going to attend. Maybe you thought that I wouldn't make it on time. Sometimes Krishna wakes me up when I need to do something. And actually I stayed up late last night. Still he woke me up. Anyway, that's Krishna's mercy. Radharani's mercy. And I think it's good we speak about Radharani because in about 2 weeks it's going to be Radharani's appearance day. So, I would like to read something. The only problem is I haven't chosen anything. Well, let's see what we find. My computer is also waking up. It's strangely waking up. Okay. Yes, it's starting to wake up. Whoops. I was, yeah. not so prepared. Anyway. Well, first we should understand the position of Radharani. Radharani is the female counterpart of Krishna. And whatever is attractive to Krishna, she's an energy of Krishna. She's the, we say, the counterpart. So God is both male and female. So we understand Radharani as Ladini Shakti, or the pleasure potency of Krishna. And there's no one that can give pleasure to Krishna like Radharani. So whatever is attractive to Krishna, he created as Radharani. So it's just like, imagine, sometimes we imagine what would be the perfect partner for me. In fact, I tell people who are not married that you should think about who would be the perfect partner. Of course, that perfect, absolutely perfect partner will not exist outside of Krishna. But at least you should understand the kind of partner that would be compatible, or at least you try to think like that. So if you could imagine the perfect partner, what they would be like. So Radharani was imagined by Krishna as the perfect partner, or one who could love Krishna the most. And therefore, she is celebrated as the greatest devotee who's achieved the highest state of love of God. And she represents the compassion of Krishna. Mahaprabhu represents the compassion of Radharani. And Radharani is golden, and Mahaprabhu is golden because she covered him. She endowed him with her feelings and love and separation, and therefore he's golden. So devotees approach Krishna through Radharani. And if Radharani recommends us to Krishna, then Krishna will have to accept us, because Radharani will accept anything Krishna says. So if you get the favor of Radharani, whatever rascal you might be, I think Prabhupada once said, no matter how much a rascal we are, Krishna will accept us. And one time Prabhupada said that the whole world is worshipping Krishna, and Krishna is worshipping Radha. So he said, try to understand how great she is, the person that Krishna is worshipping. And Krishna's position is he just wants to make Radha happy. He just wants to satisfy her. And she just wants to satisfy him. So they represent the highest degree, the pinnacle of love. The kind of love we'd all like to have. Because they're both simply trying to satisfy one another. So in Krishna consciousness, we're all trying to attain the favor of Radharani. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare is Radharani. And Prabhupada said, Krishna is not very beautiful alone, but when he's with Radha, then he's beautiful. He's not complete. Or sometimes he would say, without Radha, it's not the full manifestation of Krishna. It's not Shamasa, not the real Krishna, not the original Shamsundar. Radharani must be there. When Krishna leaves Vrindavan, he takes on another form, the Vasudeva feature. But only in Vrindavan is Krishna manifest as Shamsundar. Now, I have something here. Once asking Prabhupada about If we do something wrong, will he forgive us? And Prabhupada said, if you do something that I don't forgive, Krishna will forgive you. And if he doesn't forgive you, Radharani will. And of course, it doesn't mean that you do anything you want and you think, well, Radharani will forgive me. But Prabhupada's point is that Radharani is unlimitedly compassionate. And so devotees pray to Radharani to get Krishna's compassion. Because Krishna is the owner of love. And if he doesn't give it, you can't get it. And so Radharani, she has all the love. And because she has, I would say all the love, she has the love to the greatest degree. As we said, if she recommends us to Krishna, Krishna will accept us. And she personifies devotional service, so all devotional service must go through her. In this way, the spiritual master represents Radharani. He represents Guru Tattva. Because service goes to the spiritual master and it's offered to Krishna, so service goes to Radha, she offers it to Krishna. And Prabhupada would say that if we offer service to Radha, then it becomes enhanced as she's offering it to Krishna. And when we're chanting Hare Krishna, we're praying to Radharani. That we can be pure devotees, we're praying that we can have service not only to Krishna but to her. And it's actually considered a higher position to have service of Srimati Radharani. And our service becomes more endowed with affection when it goes through her to Krishna. Now, you may or may not know, but there are gopis called manjaris, and they are servants of Radharani. All devotees serve Radharani, but specifically the manjaris are servants of Radharani. They don't directly engage with Krishna. They serve Radharani, and they experience the relationship with Krishna through Radharani. And so the example is given in Shastra that Radharani is like a creeper or a plant, and the manjaris are like leaves, so whatever the plant feels, they feel. So whatever Radharani is feeling in relation to Krishna, they feel. So generally, I mean, there may be some manjaris that also relate to Krishna, but that's the general idea. So, Hare Krishna. I just came up with a now, hold on. Okay. Let me. I'd like to read something about Radharani. I had there's an interesting story you may have heard, but Radharani is not, her name isn't mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Did you know that? Would you like to know why? It's that Radharani is the topmost devotee of Krishna, and her name is not mentioned in the Bhagavatam. So, Sukadeva Goswami is intimate associate of Radharani. Sometimes it's said that he is her parrot. Shuka means parrot. And like a parrot, he would speak Bhagavatam, and a parrot bites fruit, it becomes sweeter. So Shuka Dev, Shuka means parrot. So a parrot who makes things, who makes the Bhagavatam or Krishna Katha sweeter. So he only mentioned Radharani indirectly, using the word Aradhana, the best worshipper of Krishna, because it said that he only had 7 days to speak the Bhagavatam. And if he would have mentioned the name of Radha, unlike myself, who was not fainting and falling in ecstasy, he would have he would have fainted if he mentioned the name Radha, because he has so much love for Radha. He would have experienced ecstatic emotions to such a degree he wouldn't be able to speak, and it would have gotten in the way of his presentation of the Bhagavatam. He wouldn't, and Prakrit Maharshi only had 7 days, and it would take him that long to recover, or at least a few days, and he wouldn't be able to speak the whole Bhagavatam. So he purposely didn't mention her name. Just like Mahaprabhu says, when will my words be choked up at the recitation of your name? So Sukadeva Goswami knew his words would be choked at the recitation of the name of Radharani. So, Radha comes from the word, it means one who's the best worshipper of Krishna. So he, anyway, now you know why it's not. I don't know if you know that wasn't there, but now you know why it's not there. Interesting, right? But just by saying the name of his beloved Radha, his affection is so strong that he would not be able to speak, not be stable. And he didn't know how long he would be unstable. Maybe the whole 7 days. Amazing, isn't it? To think about it. Okay. Do you know that the first person Krishna saw was Radha when he opened his eyes? Or maybe it was the other way around. I think it was, yeah, anyway. My memory's not doing well yet. There's an article about Radharani. So this will make it very simple. This is not going to be esoteric. I mean, maybe you want it esoteric, but we'll start simple. Everyone wants to enjoy, yet no one is fully independent in finding enjoyment. To satisfy our desires, we need association. We use the expression to enjoy oneself, but we enjoy ourselves most in good company. Krishna, the Supreme Lord, being the source of everything, is fully independent. He is independent in his existence, his knowledge, and his pleasure. Krishna therefore needs no one. Since in one sense he's everything, no one exists outside of him. When Krishna wants to enjoy, he expands the potency of energy within himself and gives him enjoyment. That potency is Radharani. So, a nice point. I mean, just like some people argue, people who don't know, they argue that Krishna, he's dancing with these young girls, right? It's not right. How can he be God? But these young girls are actually him. He's actually dancing with himself because they're expansions of him. All the gopis expand. Well, they expand from Radharani. He expands into Radharani, she expands. So they're all his personal expansions. So he's really dancing with himself. And the other point that's very interesting and very important, and maybe you've thought of this, that if you understand Krishna, you understand that he relishes association or relationship. Krishna is social. We have this word, I don't know if you have this word in Australia, but if someone was very social, had a lot of friends, moved in this group and that group, in high school we would call them a socialite, a person who's very popular with a lot of friends. It was a socialite, because most people had a smaller group of friends. Like you'd have, 3, 4, 5 really close friends, another 5 or 10 in the group. Socialites were large numbers of friends, kind of friends with all the groups. So Krishna is a socialite. He likes interaction with others. And so the question is that why would Krishna, who's self-satisfied, need to be a socialite? And why would he need or thrive on the affection of others? And he does. And he's Atmarama. Bhagavatam says he's self-satisfied. It's interesting, isn't it? That although Krishna is self-satisfied, he hankers after the association of his devotees. He relishes that association. He wants it. He needs it. And so you could look at it in two ways. This sense that we just said, that, well, at least the gopis, who he hankers the most after being with, they are himself. So he is self-satisfied in the sense he's expanded himself. And then the other sense that what Krishna is getting from his devotees is love. So although he may be self-satisfied, because he's a person, because he's sentient, he's still hankering after love, because love is what we all hanker for. Even Krishna hankers for it. That's why we hanker for it, because he hankers for it. So Krishna's hankering for the love of his devotees. That love is everything to him. And so even though he's self-satisfied, it's simultaneously he has a need for the love of his devotees. Even he has the need for our love, which can sound a little strange to you, but it's a nice meditation. As Krishna wants your love, he wants my love. He wants the love of everyone. And that's why those who give Krishna consciousness, those who help others love Krishna, they're very dear to Krishna. Because he wants everyone's love. And if you help someone love Krishna, that makes you dear to Krishna. Because everyone's love has a unique flavor. And Krishna, he exists for love. That's who he is. So the question, if Krishna is a socialite and likes to interact with others, Krishna hankers, yes. Because, and that's the point, you see, when you understand Krishna, and even you understand Krishna, then you have to understand him. And many things in Krishna consciousness you have to understand in two ways. One is how Krishna relates to his devotees, and then Krishna's position as God. And in Krishna's position as God is seen outside of Vrindavan. So Krishna's position of God is a philosophical understanding. Let's say he's the source of everything. That's a philosophical understanding of Krishna. He's self-satisfied. That's a philosophical understanding. So I can be self-satisfied, but in relation to my devotees, or in Krishna's in relation to his devotees, there's another aspect, and that's the feeling that he has, and that's called rasa. So what may be true in terms of general information about God, and God is self-satisfied. Self-satisfied means he has no material desire, right? Like, you can't satisfy Krishna with something material because he has no material body and therefore no material desire. So And you think, I'm going to, I just saw this really beautiful set of earrings, and I know Krishna will like them, and I'm going to get them and give them to him. Yeah, it's the deity. So that's nice. And if your mood is nice, Krishna will appreciate it. And if your mood isn't nice, Krishna won't. You can't, just because the earrings are nice, that's not going to attract him. So on that level, Krishna is self-satisfied. He doesn't hanker for anything. But on the level of rasa, he hankers for the love of his devotees, which is transcendental. So self-satisfied means he doesn't need anything, at least nothing material. But we see that he needs the love of his devotees, and when we say he needs it, he thrives on it. Everything he does is to get it. So that's when you understand rasa, then you understand Krishna is a plaything in the hands of devotees. The rasa is all about love. So on the level of love, even God needs love. Which is interesting, right? God needs love, and that's why we need it. Whatever we need, we understand it comes from him. But there's a sense of self-satisfaction. He's independent. He has all opulences. Doesn't need anything from anyone. So that sense, self-satisfaction. This is how Krishna relates to his devotees and his position as God. His position of God is seen outside of Vrindavan and is a philosophical Vrindavan. Yeah. Yes. If God is hankering for material things, that would be weird, wouldn't it? If God is affected by the modes of nature, he's having a bad day, maybe he's in a bad mood and he sends someone to hell who should go to heaven because he's in a bad mood. That would be weird, wouldn't it? He's angry today, so he decided the sun is going to get closer to the earth and it's going to be so hot many people die, or it'll be so hot we all suffer for a few days. No, it's not like that. If you're not self-satisfied, how can you actually give love to everyone? So there's a sense of self-satisfaction that accommodates the need for love. Just like, let's say a person, it's like a self-realized person, let's say a very advanced devotee. You try to give them things and they say, no, I'm satisfied. I'm just reading Bhagavatam, chanting, I'm satisfied. But where's that satisfaction coming from? It's coming from reading the Bhagavatam, right? It's coming from their relationship with Krishna. So they're satisfied materially and they're hankering after relishing Bhagavatam. So Krishna doesn't need anything. In the form of Vishnu, he doesn't need anything to make himself complete. He's complete in all opulences. But Krishna without Radharani it's taught when Krishna leaves Vrindavan, he moves to Dwarka, and he's always thinking of Radharani and the gopis. Even he's with his queens, who are expansions of the gopis. He's dreaming about being with Radharani. So he's hankering after her love. The self-satisfied Supreme Personality of God hankers after her love. That's just understanding of Krishna. That Rasika Shekhara, he's the summit or the fountainhead of all rasa, all relationships. So that's what's so nice about Krishna, that he wants relationship. And he gives himself now to us in the form of the Mahamantra to invite us into that relationship. And because Krishna wants a relationship. He's willing to allow us to come into that relationship. Right? And he's inviting us into it. If he didn't want it, he wouldn't bother. He would just wait for us. But he wants it so much that he's willing to open himself up so much, to give so much mercy, so we can get it. That's the idea. Yes. Is that all right? Anyway, it's like a simultaneously one and different. He's self-satisfied and he's hankering after giving love and receiving love. And he's a sentient being. You know, you have this idea of someone self-satisfied, they won't do anything. Not exactly like that. He's complete. That's the idea. He's complete. Isharvasham idam sarvam om purnamadha purnamidam. Complete. Purna purnamudachyate. Purnasya purnamadaya. Purnamevavasishyate. He's complete. But he's not complete without Radharani. So, according to Tattva, God is complete. But in Vrindavan, it's all about rasa. So he's not complete without Radharani. And that's why when he's separated from her, he's always thinking about her. Let's see what it says here. Krishna needs no one. In one sense, he's everything. No one exists outside of him. When Krishna wants to enjoy, he expands the potency within himself. The potency is a person. So we said in that sense he's self-satisfied because he's enjoying his own potency. Radharani is not different from Krishna. She's both one and different. How could two people be one person, or one person be two? The sun cannot exist without the sunshine. We say the sun is in my room, even though the sun is 93 million miles away, because the sun appears in the form of energy. It's the energy and the energetic, simultaneously one and different. Radha and Krishna are one and different. Krishna is the self-effulgent personality of Godhead. Radharani is the supreme pleasure energy. Okay. According to spiritual authority, Krishna is the reservoir of pleasure and is all attractive. Yet he derives pleasure from the service rendered by his devotees. That service attracts him. Krishna, while speaking to Uddhava in the Bhagavatam, says, Uddhava, you may know from me the attraction I feel for devotional service rendered by my devotees is not to be equaled, even if one performs mystic yoga, philosophical speculation, or ritualistic sacrifices, studies Vedanta, practices severe austerities, or gives up everything in charity. These are, of course, nice activities, but they are not as attractive to me as the transcendental loving service rendered by my devotees, because these activities, these other activities are not, they're nice because they're purifying the heart of the practitioner, but it's not attracting the heart of Krishna. So Krishna likes it that someone's trying to become purified, but if it's not in relation to him, it's not really that attractive to him. You know, it's like if somebody did something that wasn't directly for you in love, it won't attract you that much as love would attract you. And the next point he makes is that Krishna has all six opulence, but still he's attracted to love. So he has everything. but he's attracted to love. I was once talking to a lawyer. She was an Indian, so she understood something about Krishna, and she was asking about Rasa Lila, how could God do that? And being a lawyer, she has this nature of obviously of right and wrong, morality. And I told her something which she didn't understand or couldn't accept. I said, love is higher than morality. So you see, in Krishna's Lila, he's dancing with the wives of other men. And why is he doing that? He's doing that because that's what they want. Now, from the external point of view, he's doing something immoral. And from the spiritual point of view, he's doing something to express his affection or reciprocate with their affection. Both. So what he's doing is the highest, he's engaging in the highest aspect of, there's nothing higher than Ras Lila. So if you are in the material world and you can engage in Ras Lila and you have to lie to get there, then lie. Because Rasa Lila is higher, it's the highest thing. And so nothing morally right should block you from being with Krishna, right? Because that's the highest, the perfection of our existence is to connect with Krishna. So morality is really, it's mundane in the sense that it's conceived of by men as what is right and wrong. And it generally, or often, has nothing to do with what will help you come closer to Krishna, but it's more in the sense of what will help society function well, or an intuitive sense of right and wrong. Now, a lot of morality is helpful for spiritual life, and we're not saying that we should be immoral, but we're saying that anything, maybe this is sensitive to say, but the principle is that spiritual practice, spirituality, it's higher than morality. And if morality is detrimental to one's spiritual practice, then that will be considered lower, a lower position. So sometimes that happens. I was once in an interesting situation that would exemplify this. Not in relation to, directly in relation to Krishna in rasa, but there was a moral dilemma that something happened that wasn't good. And there was the moral dilemma, should we tell the devotees exactly what happened? And from the point of view of honesty, then some devotees said, yes, we don't want to hide anything from devotees, we want to be thoroughly honest. Then the other party said, but if they hear everything, some devotees, it's going to have very adverse effects on their Krishna consciousness. It could actually cause them to leave Krishna consciousness because they wouldn't understand how such an exalted person could have done something so not exalted. And so the person, this exalted devotee, had made some mistake or performed activities which he shouldn't have. And so we were contemplating, how much do the devotees need to know? They need to know something, but how much do they need to know? How many details? And so some devotees were saying they don't need to understand much, and some saying, look, you have to be straightforward about it. And then one of my godbrothers said that there was a situation like this, similar, I don't know the details, but a similar situation came to Prabhupada, and he said why you don't need to tell everybody, because if they don't need to hear it, it'll harm their bhakti. So that was Prabhupada's concern. It would harm their bhakti. So even though we may have to hide some truth, we do it because out of concern that if they hear all the details of what happened, it could actually destroy their Krishna consciousness. they may lose faith and give it up, and we don't want that to happen. So the idea was that maintaining their bhakti was a higher principle than telling them the details of what happened to protect them. And parents do that also. Sometimes parents, in discussing a subject matter, if a child's not old enough, they won't say everything, because it'll confuse the child, or it'll in some way be detrimental. So they just don't say much, or sometimes they don't say anything, or they wait till they're older and they can understand. And so, and then what happened was that before this discussion was finished and the conclusion was, we came to the conclusion that too much of the truth had leaked out to several devotees, and as predicted, it had made it a very detrimental effect on them. And they were good devotees, and had a very detrimental effect. And it created a lot of problems for them, and created a lot of problems for other devotees. And it proved the point. So sometimes, okay. I forgot how I came on that point. We're talking about love. Love is higher than morality. So in Vrindavan, love controls everything. And Radharani controls the love. She arranges everything that will attract Krishna, that will please Krishna. And it's interesting that the love is so high. Think of this. This is so interesting. That Radharani thinks, if another gopi can please Krishna more than I can please Krishna, then I will bring that gopi to Krishna and give her to Krishna. Isn't that interesting? Can you imagine that? You're like you're married, and then you think, I could see, it seems like my husband is very attracted to the next door neighbor. I'm going to go talk to her and see if she'll come over and go on a date with him, because that'll make him happy. Like, what woman would do that? But that's Radharani's mood. If there's another gopi that can please Krishna more, then let me get her and give her to Krishna so he can enjoy her. She doesn't, so that helps us understand how the gopis, they don't, when they talk about being with Krishna or enjoying with Krishna, they're not thinking about enjoying themselves, because also they don't have physical bodies to enjoy. So you always have to remember that they're not only in the transcendental realm, which should explain everything, but they don't have physical bodies. So we have physical bodies, so we want to enjoy the mind and the senses. They don't think about enjoying. Their enjoyment is that Krishna is happy. So if another devotee can make Krishna happy, that makes them happy. But then Radharani thinks that, or she understands in her own way, that nobody can satisfy Krishna like I can satisfy Krishna, and therefore, because no one can satisfy Krishna like I can satisfy Krishna, then I will engage in rasa with Krishna. Krishna will, he's always trying to meet me, and if that will satisfy him, to meet me above all other gopis and manjaris, and so then I'll do that, because I know that satisfies him. But it's not a personal thing. It's not interesting. It's not because she thinks I'm the best devotee, or she thinks I want to enjoy Krishna. But she understands that the pleasure that she gives to Krishna, nobody can give that kind of pleasure. So, therefore, she thinks I have to do it. That really, I think, is such a good example to exemplify what love is. That love is to, as we said, satisfy the other person without any interest for personal satisfaction. So here we see that to such a degree or to such an extreme that if we can find another person to satisfy your lover and that makes your lover happy, that you'll do that. You like that? I think that's amazing. Isn't it amazing? And Radharani's position is to bring she tries to bring other people to Krishna and engage other gopis. Because she knows that will satisfy Krishna, but she knows ultimately her association will satisfy him the most. So that's why she engages with him, because she knows she knows that ultimately she'll satisfy him, but she also knows the others will satisfy him, so she engages in bringing other gopis to Krishna. And some of the cowherd boys arrange to help Krishna in his relationship with the gopis, and they're happy by doing that because that makes Krishna happy. So the whole thing is you want to make Krishna happy. That's it. That's what it's all about. And the whole thing in the material world is you want to make yourself happy, and that's it. And that's what it's all about. And there you go in 2 sentences. The whole truth of material life and spiritual life. Material life, you want to make yourself happy. Everything you do is to make yourself happy. Spiritual life, you want to make Krishna happy. And then we say, you please the Guru, Krishna will be pleased. So we try to please the Guru, and we say, you please the devotees, Krishna will be pleased. So we try to please the devotees, because that pleases Krishna. So everything is done to please Krishna. And in the material world, Krishna, material consciousness, everything is separated from Krishna, and it's done to please ourselves. Right? And if you're a good Christian, you'll give 10% of your income. Right? So maybe 10% of your income in 1 hour a week in church, that's what you give to Krishna. So that can't be love, can it? 10% in 1 hour a week, that can't be love. And you know from experience that love means you're always thinking of the person you love, and you're always trying to please them. That's love. Isn't it? I mean, you can understand love of Krishna by understanding love in this world. And when you love somebody, you want to please them. And even if it might even mean breaking up, because you know that your association with them is toxic. So if it is, then you say, I have to let you go, because I'm not good for you, and because I love you, I let you go. So that's nice if someone does that. I don't deserve you, I'm not good enough for you, I let you, you should go find somebody who can actually make you happy, I can't make you happy. So that's of course, if the woman or the man wants to stay with you, then you probably shouldn't do that, but at least the sentiment is good. Okay, so we'll read some more. So he's making the same point that we made, that pure devotional service attracts Krishna, even though he's full in all opulences. So, and he says this is the unique, transcendental excellence of devotional service, that anyone can attract Krishna by pure devotional service. Now you know. You say, well, what should I get for Krishna for his birthday? His birthday is coming up in a couple of days, right? 4 days is Krishna's birthday. Well, what can I get for Krishna for his birthday? Well, what he's most attracted to is pure devotional service. So you can serve him purely. That's the best gift you can give him. He has everything. What do you give the person who has everything? Give him your love. Pure devotional service attracts even Krishna. So that's the most attractive gift you can give him, your own purity of heart. Yes? The same Krishna who is not attracted by any amount of material opulence finds Srimati Radharani irresistible. One time Krishna, to joke with the gopis, the cowherd girls of Vrindavan, was hiding himself beneath a bush. But finally they spotted him from a distance. Krishna then changed himself into his four-armed form of Narayana. When the gopis approached and found Narayana instead of Krishna, they were not very interested in him. Only Krishna's two-armed form attracted them. They therefore offered their respectful obeisances unto Lord Narayan and prayed that he would bestow upon them the benediction of Krishna's eternal association. Then they went on searching for Krishna. When Radharani passed by, Krishna tried to maintain his disguise as Narayan, but was unable to do so. He kept slipping back into his original two-armed form. This illustrates the great influence of Srimati Radharani's pure transcendental love. So it's a funny story. And I don't know if you've heard this story before, and if you haven't, it might be confusing, but Krishna has many forms. And those different forms are actually for different relationships. And the form of Narayan is for devotees who worship Krishna in awe and reverence. And so the gopis worship Krishna in love, and therefore they have no need for that relationship. So that form of Narayan, to them, it's just God. And Krishna is not God to them. Krishna is their lover. So that's why when they see Narayan, they said, well, you know where Krishna is? Because they're not interested in Narayan, they're interested in Krishna. And Krishna's love is so intense that when in the presence of Radharani, he has to reveal himself because he wants to exchange her loving reciprocation. So he can't control himself. So love dominates so much that he couldn't hold on to that form of Narayan. Because in that form he couldn't exchange with Radharani. And that desire to engage in loving affairs with Radharani is so strong that again he had to manifest the form of Krishna, Shyamsundar, so he could engage with Radharani. So her love is such that Krishna in her presence just melts. So he melted away his Narayan form back into his form of Krishna, which is Shyamsundar, his original form. The same Krishna who's not attracted by any amount of material opulence finds Radharani irresistible. Yeah, so we just read. Krishna says in the Gita that as one surrenders, he reciprocates. The more Radharani tries to please Krishna, the more he desires to please her, thus in turn increasing her enthusiasm to increase his pleasure. Therefore, although the Lord is unlimited, both he himself and his pleasure potency are always increasing. The all-blissful reciprocation between the Lord and his pleasure potency is expressed in the transcendental pastimes of Radha and Krishna described in the Krishna book. Okay. So, does anyone have any questions yet? Any other questions? Well, there's something very interesting that I can bring up here. And as you know, romance novels or romance movies, they're very attractive. And so we go to the movies, we read a book about a fictitious romance. And somehow or other, the desire for love is so attractive and so appealing. So if you read the love story, it's appealing because we want that kind of love, because we kind of sense, maybe without saying it, that love is the highest aspect of life. There's nothing greater that the heart hankers for. And we like stories of love where a man will sacrifice for a woman. He'll travel hundreds of miles and through danger to meet her or to do something heroic to save her, and then we all cry. There's so much love, because love is attractive. Otherwise, why would we want to view stories of love if love were not attractive? Of course, you could say, why would we want to view stories of murder? Because we do that also. Because in a perverted sense, it's attractive, but there's nothing as attractive as love. And so we like to read stories of other people's love and how they met and how they came together, how they were separated, how they struggled to come back together, the difficulties they went through, the sacrifices they made. And sometimes the movies or the stories will end in separation, like separation of Sita Ram. So we have that also. And we cry when they're separated because they had so much love. And we like those kinds of movies or books. And one of the reasons we like them is because so few of us have that level of love in our life. And it shows how much we're attracted to love, and how much we like it and need it and want it. And of course we know that that level of love that we want can only be fulfilled in spiritual life. So I find it so interesting that movies, novels, even some television shows, always, so often has this theme of love and all the problems with love and the intensity of love. And of course, it may give people some satisfaction or some entertainment, or they may experience various emotions when they read the book, but doesn't actually purify them of their lust. And generally, if you read such literature, it just makes you want to have that kind of love in your life. And we know from discussing in this class that that kind of love is not really love, it's lust. So actually, it's increasing the lust. I would like to have love like that, like in this story. I would like to have that kind of love for somebody. And it's a perversion of the Bhagavatam, because Bhagavatam ultimately it's to bring us to the platform where we can understand the love of Krishna and his devotees, and ultimately the love of Krishna and Radha. And therefore, when you become purified, you don't want to hear about the love of two people in this world, usually fictitious people. You relish hearing about the exchanges between Radha and Krishna. So I find it interesting because it parallels in a perverted way how much we're attracted to the affairs of men and women in this world. Right? So, what happens when you read about Radha and Krishna? Well, Bhagavatam says, Prabhupada has told us, you become purified of lust. And what happens when you read about, or you read magazines about the movie stars and who they're married and where they go on vacation? And does that do anything for you? No. And you can read about the supreme couple and you can become purified of your own lust. Isn't that nice? And isn't it interesting? And in a certain sense, that Radha and Krishna are doing much of what any couple is doing, minus the lust. They think of one another, they meet one another, they spend time alone together, they look at one another, they talk about one another, they tell one another how much they love one another, they show that affection. And that kind of thing can never happen completely. At least it can never happen on the level that it happens between Radha and Krishna. It's impossible. So, if you want that, and you can satisfy that need for love just by hearing about Radha and Krishna, about their love. It's like, we have this word vicarious, that you enjoy through another person. Like, maybe you wanted to be something and you never achieved it, and then you want your children to achieve it, and then you can enjoy it through them. Or whatever they achieve, you can enjoy through them. So, we enjoy, in a sense, vicariously. We enjoy love by hearing about the love of Radha and Krishna. We get a fragrance of that love. And that's how we attain love, by hearing about Krishna's loving pastimes with his devotees. So when you hear about them, it's so different than hearing about an ordinary person's love affairs or a fictitious person's love affairs. It doesn't do much for you other than creating a desire to have such a thing. And when you hear, like oftentimes we say, well, if you have lust, then you should hear about Krishna, his relation with Radha and the gopis. That will purify your lust, because it's the complete opposite of a material, mundane action. There's nothing like it, right? You understand it's the total opposite. So when you hear about what real love is, what pure love is, it purifies you of lust, which is a reflection of that love. And so we hear, the whole Bhagavatam is preparing us so that we understand what love is, so that we can hear about it and not think of it as something material. Otherwise, you'll hear about Radha and Krishna's affairs and you'll look at them from the eye or vision of ordinary affairs, and that'll destroy you. So you have to be careful that you're purified enough to hear about them. And then in that purified consciousness, or you just have the right understanding, then when you hear about it, you become purified of lust. So, we're going to stop. If you have any questions, we've gone an hour. Just gone about an hour. So if you have any questions, then you can ask. And this, one of the conclusions of this class should be to read Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam it'll tell you about, it'll just give you so many stories of devotees in different rasas. And you can understand how to love Krishna through those different rasas, and then coming to the love of the gopis, the highest rasa. And so it's really meant to help us understand that. And when we understand that, if you fully understand that, as Krishna says, if you understand Janati Tattvam, you understand me in truth, then you'll become transcendental. Because once you understand the transcendental nature of Krishna, it purifies you of wanting to engage in anything material, because you understand the superiority of it. Right? It's like, I don't know if you've had this experience, but sometimes you might be looking for something and it's affordably priced for you, but then you find a product that's so much better and so much more expensive. And you test it out, and now you go back to the lower quality product. You can't buy it, even though this better product's not in your price range, and the lower product is, you can't buy it, because in comparison, it's just, you see it's not really quality. It's not really what you want. So when you understand love of Krishna through reading Bhagavatam and hearing about the love of the devotees, then once you understand that love, then it purifies you of all traces of desire for mundane love. Because you understand it's not love. That's the frustration in the material world. We're hankering after love and we don't get it because it only exists with Krishna. Or you can have love in relation to Krishna. But if it's in relation to you, enjoying yourself, it doesn't work. That's the frustration of it. It's like, it's like when you get married, you just have to know what to expect, and don't expect the love that you can get from Krishna to get from your spouse. You can have amazing relationships, but the kind of love that we have with Krishna it's different. It's a different category of love. And so, if the relationship with our spouse helps our love for Krishna, that's what we want. That's perfect relationship, right? Isn't it? So, I guess you don't have any questions. And if you don't have any questions, then we'll end the class. Or maybe maybe I should wait a minute, because you might be thinking. Maybe some of this you haven't heard before, and so you're thinking, okay, I got to digest this. But there's a story I may have told. I'll tell this story. It's relevant, and you can think if you have any questions. We're talking about hearing about Krishna and the gopis. So some devotees thought that Krishna's pastimes with the gopis are the highest pastimes. So, and to develop conjugal love, Madhurya Ras is the highest. So we should just exclusively hear about the gopis. And so that's what they did. And a group of devotees got together, and they would read just about gopis, anything about the gopis and Krishna they would read, and they wouldn't read anything else. And so some devotees were concerned that this didn't feel right, because didn't seem to be the way Prabhupada trained us. So they came to Prabhupada and said, this is what they're doing. And Prabhupada said no. And he said, the whole Bhagavatam is there to qualify us. So, but even if we're qualified, it's not that just we exclusively listen about the gopis. We listen to everything. But beyond that, he was saying, if you're not qualified, then you do that, you won't become purified. So we want to become qualified to understand the love of Radha and Krishna. And then when we become qualified and we hear those pastimes, we become completely purified and we merge in transcendental consciousness. And otherwise, Prabhupada said, if you don't understand, if you just exclusively listen to Radha and Krishna, or you listen to intimate leelas of Radha and Krishna, and you're not qualified, it'll have the opposite effect. It'll actually arouse your lust. So, believe it or not, there are so-called devotees who are trying to imitate Krishna's relationship with the gopis. So they hear about Krishna's pastimes with the gopis, and then they do the same thing. So they become destroyed by hearing about Krishna. So you have to hear, and you have to hear with the right understanding, and you have to hear in the mood of surrender and service and respect and reverence. That's how you hear about Krishna's pastimes with the gopis. Kind of in that mood that I don't understand, but I want to understand Radha's love. I want to understand this transcendental nature, and it's very good to try to understand it, because the more we understand the transcendental nature of Krishna's relationship with the devotees, the more we'll lose attraction for any kind of mundane relationship. Because we become purified of lust. And material relationships are centered so much around lust, about I'm not happy, my partner's not making me happy. There was I think Indradumna Swami told a story. He was on a plane and there was a couple celebrating their 75th anniversary. And so he asked them, well, what's the secret? And they both said, give more than you get. I like that. So that's kind of what we're talking about. You can say, don't expect much and give a lot. So if we can't even do that materially, how are we going to understand the transcendental nature of Krishna's leelas? We find that hard to do materially, isn't it? My husband doesn't do this for me, my wife doesn't do this for me, so we want so much. I'm not happy because they don't do these things for me that I want, expect, and I need. Okay, that's reasonable, we have material bodies, but on a higher level of love is, let me give more than I get, right? So, anyway, something to think about. Interesting. Okay, so the conclusion of this class is you should read Bhagavatam, and then if you understand Krishna, then you will also, like Krishna, become transcendental to material lust and desire. Because when you understand his transcendental nature, you also become transcendental. Okay? So So, thank you for listening, and we will see you next week, hopefully, as long as I can. I'm up at 3:15 in the morning, then we'll see you next week. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.